In this video, we are testing the new Polestar 4 long-range single motor to find out how far it can go on a full charge of battery on the motorway at a constant 120 kph or 75 miles an hour. So without further ado, let's just jump into the test and see how the new Polestar 4 performs. Kempower offers some of the best DC fast chargers in the world with their unique, sleek, and modern load balancing charging satellites. The small satellites translates to spacious and airy charging locations. When you as a user roll up to a Kempower charging station, you don't have to think about connecting to a charger that delivers the correct speed for your car. The Kempower load balancing chargers automatically will allocate the correct power to your car, maximizing the charging speed for the whole site. When connected, Kempower chargers have a QR code you can scan, and this way you can easily monitor your charging session remotely regardless of payment method. This is just super cool. A huge thanks to my friends at Kempower in Finland for sponsoring this video. After a lot of comments and messages and DMs on a whole bunch of different platforms asking me, Chris, when are you going to test the Polestar 4 again after I was able to go to the premiere in Madrid in May this year? Well, today is the day because I finally have a Polestar 4 on loan on Norwegian soil. And this is the very first press car Polestar Norway have available, and I am the first one to be able to borrow one and make videos. So huge thanks to Polestar for prioritizing me for making these videos. And if you like it, yeah, please be sure to drop a thumbs up down below, and also subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss out on all the cool videos on this car, the Polestar 3, the Volvo EX90, the new XC90, and a whole bunch of other electric cars coming to the channel very soon. So in today's video, in today's test, we have a long range single motor with 20-inch wheels. This car is the base model but with the pilot package. So this car should get the most range, be the most efficient in the Polestar 4 lineup. And the pricing actually isn't bad at all with the pilot package, this color, this spec, like with a lot of equipment. Like this is a functional car that I would consider, even though I like a lot of options. This car in Norway is 618,000 kroner, so a little more than 60,000 euros. So that is a very good price for what you are getting here. But what isn't very good with today's test is the weather. So we've had a few weeks of really nice weather. Today, not the best conditions, though it is better now than it was earlier today because it's not raining now actually. So the roads they're not even wet, they're just damp, and it's like between 16 and 18 degrees Celsius outside. So the conditions may not actually be bad for doing a range test, but I was hoping for better weather. So I've only had this car for about an hour and a half now, and there are already a few things that I really like and a few things that annoy me. So start with the positives. The cabin, the build quality, like even though this is a base model, it is really, really nice and high quality. I really like it. And also the comfort, the suppleness of the ride, the refinement is really good. This car is very, very comfortable and it has really nice body control. And lastly, it is very, very quiet. Going at 120 kilometers an hour, there's a little bit of tire noise, but not much, and basically no wind noise at all. And that brings me to the annoyances, like the adaptive cruise control and pilot assist. There, I'm using pilot assist, so that means it's centering the car automatically, and it should do auto lane change. But there, for some reason, when I put on the blinker, it just canceled immediately, and I have to tug the car into the next lane. It's just not very refined. And also the distance to the cars is very sensitive to passing traffic, or when we're passing traffic, it's not very smooth and not very refined. And it kind of reminds me of, yeah, there's canceling again, the lane change. It's not very smooth. The way this adaptive cruise control works reminds me a lot of the Chinese cars I've driven in the past few years. And underneath, this is a very Chinese car because even though it wears the Polestar badge, this is basically a reskinned Zeekr 001, which is a very Chinese car. I think something like the Volvo EX30 has been honed and made more into a Swedish car than its, Chinese roots. This car, yeah, is somewhere in between there. And I think this adaptive cruise control functionality is testament to that. So that is annoying. And also, this car has the standard sound system, which isn't very good. Like, you can have a Harman Kardon upgrade. But what's really bad about the sound system is that I find myself having to crank it all the way up to have like any decent volume of sound. And that's not really good. That's not good at all. So that's just like my immediate thoughts on this car. I'm going to give you my full review at the end of my test week. But yeah, a few annoyances, a few things I like. But this video is all about the maximum range. So let's keep on going, and I'll update you guys once we get to our halfway point in Moelv. The weather has really picked up now, and yeah, it is raining a lot. I don't think this is very good for getting good results, if I'm honest. We are now approaching our turnaround point here in Moelv, and as you guys can see, the consumption is at 23.6 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, which is basically what it was at our first update, where I actually forgot to update you guys about the consumption. You know, the weather is pretty bad, and according to the wind map, we do have a slight push in the northward direction, which has been the direction we've been traveling for the past hour, of about 4 meters per second. But because the weather is so bad, I'm not exactly sure if that really is the case and how much it is going to affect the results. And as you guys can see now, 23.4 as we come to a slower speed here, crossing under the motorway. So we're gonna head southward now. For me, it's gonna be about an hour before we are back. For you guys, it's just gonna be fade to black and fade back. We are now back here at our starting point at Circle K here in Dahl. And yeah, I mean, the adaptive cruise control of this car is pretty annoying. When you use it with pilot assist or without pilot assist, it's not smooth. And I've experienced that once you pass trucks, like you're in the left lane and you're passing trucks in the right lane, it actually slows down quite significantly. Like, I was going 120 kilometers an hour passing this truck, and the car, you know, slowed down to below 100 kilometers an hour. So that is not good. That is absolutely something they will have to address with an OTA. That is very, very disappointing. I have not experienced that with the Polestar 3 or the Polestar 2, so it's unfortunate that the Polestar 4 is that way. So we're gonna go to the chargers over here, and then we're gonna connect now and see what charging speed we get after a few hours on the road with only passive heating. We do active preconditioning via the navigation system in a different test here on the channel, in my long trip test, but in this test, we only try to get the most range out of the car, and that means no preconditioning, because that will, you know, use energy to heat up the battery. So we're gonna go around here, and then the charge port we have on the driver's side, and then we're gonna take a look at the average consumption now, which, yeah, it's not great, guys. It's not great. I'm disappointed with this car. So I'm gonna grab the camera here now, and you guys are gonna see that the average consumption is at 24.8 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, which it's not great. It's not great, to be honest, and we are currently here with 35% state of charge. Okay, so let's connect to this charger, and the charge port on the Polestar 4 is here on the driver's side, and it is electrically operated, which is actually really, really nice. So let's see if we can connect this with one hand. I can flip it around without losing it on the ground. And we're gonna connect here now. So as I said, we are at 35% stated charge, and the ambient temperature today has been between 15 and 16 degrees Celsius. So we should get decent speed. The battery should be at like 20 to 30 degrees Celsius just with normal driving. And we should, I don't know if at 35% what speed we get, because I don't know exactly what the charge curve is, but hopefully we should get close to that peak charging speed of 200 kilowatts. So 35% stated charge. We are now connected, and let's see what speed we're gonna get now, if this will ramp up to a decent speed. Well, 104 kilowatts isn't decent. That is disappointing. At 35% stated charge, even though we're not preconditioning the battery, The temperature outside should be warm enough that the battery's ambient temperature is closer to 20 degrees Celsius. And after driving, it should, because of the internal resistance, when the battery is discharging, there should be more heat in the battery, like 25 degrees Celsius at least, and only getting 103 kilowatts. That is really disappointing. I did not expect that at all. Now let's take a look at the results. So if we take the usable battery capacity of this Polestar 4 long-range single motor, which is 94 kilowatt hours, we divide it by the consumption, 24.8 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, and then we subtract 3% for heat loss and discharging losses. That gives us a theoretical range under today's conditions of 368 kilometers, which on the surface actually doesn't seem bad. I think almost 370 kilometers of real world range on the motorway doing 120 kilometers an hour is acceptable and very good in most EVs. But where the results are bad with this specific car and this specific test is the consumption, because that consumption of 24.8 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, considering the size of the vehicle, considering that, they market it as an SUV, but from the profile, it doesn't look like an SUV. It has that teardrop shape. It's not very tall. And this is also the single motor version on the small wheels. I think that consumption is very high and not good at all. Is that mostly due to the weather and conditions today? That may very well be the case, but I'm not sure. I can't speak about that until I do this test again. So maybe if I'm lucky, I'll be able to do this test again under much better conditions later this week. Today, we are unfortunate with the weather, but tomorrow may give you guys an indication, because I'm driving from Oslo to Gothenburg to the 9090 day at Volvo for, as I said, the reveal of the new XC90 facelift and also the new EX90. I'm going to be driving tomorrow and the conditions should be a lot better. Like the forecast says, it's going to be between 25 and 30 degrees Celsius with sunny weather. So that may be a big contributing factor, the weather today. And I'm guessing, today was a lot of rain for most of the trip. There was a lot of water in the road, meaning we have a lot of resistance for rolling. We had a lot of resistance for aerodynamics because of the weather, the rain, and the wind. So like the conditions pretty bad for, getting a lot of range out of an electric car. And I'm pretty sure we could have run this test at like 10 or even 5 degrees Celsius with nice weather, and we would have gotten better results, like lower consumption. That's my prediction, but until I'm able to test this car again, I really don't know. And also the charge speed we get here, it didn't go up. It's lower now. Like the amperage is at 270 amps. The voltage a little bit higher, but that's going to give you, I'm guessing like below 100 kilowatts charging speed. So not impressed by the Polestar 4 thus far, and also the annoyances with the braking situation when you're passing cars, like phantom braking-ish, but not slamming on the brakes like a Tesla. And also just the unrefinement of the adaptive cruise control when you're using it as adaptive cruise control or pilot assist, like with lane centering. There are a lot of things about this car that annoy me, though it is very comfortable, it is very quiet, and it looks good inside and out. Like, it's a nice car, but we'll see what I think about this car after going to Gothenburg and back, and after a whole week of testing. So guys, let me know what you think about the results of today's range test. Good or bad? I'm curious to know. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please drop me a thumbs up down below. And for more car content, as always, please subscribe. See you guys later, and goodbye.